Busted, of course, another lengthy trip in the National League for you this weekend. But first off, just obviously off the back of 3 points last weekend, how's the mood been overall? And I suppose what's the focus been for you in training this week?
The focus is the game plan for Torquay. So obviously it was nice to get 3 points that we really needed. But then the message from the gaffer kind of ever since he's been here is never get too high and never get too low. So the fact that we won a game, we just want to focus on training this week, making sure that we implement what we're going to do on Saturday in terms of a game plan, and we really stick to that, and we work every day on trying to get better at different parts of the game plan, and then hoping that it all comes together on Saturday and we get back-to-back wins for the first time, which is something that we've talked about.
Yeah, and you mentioned that not getting too high and not getting too low aspect. Obviously, it's been here in previous seasons, still very much the same now. But I suppose in a season where wins have been a little bit harder to come by for you, is it any more difficult keeping lads' feet on the ground when you do get that win because everyone is sort of so desperate to get it?
No, I think obviously we've got an unbelievable manager who installed that from day one in terms of we keep grounded. We had that last year where there was plenty of opportunities for us to get carried away, and not at any point did we get carried away. So this year, because we're at the other end of the table and wins aren't as frequent, it's perfect for us because we have to prove that we can stick with our methods and our mindset and not get too down because we haven't won a game. It's that everyday process of coming in and trying to improve every single day, and just really being present in what we're doing and not thinking too much about what's happened, learning from what's happened, and not thinking too much into the future other than we want to be better in training today than we were yesterday, and that's going to be the same on Saturday. We want to play better this Saturday than we did last week, and as a collective we're looking to go to Torquay and keep our feet on the ground and be humble and hard working, which is what the group are, and that's the only way that we're going to pick up results. We're certainly not getting carried away because we've won one game.
Yeah. And to Torquay specifically on Tuesday, obviously supporters of both sides will look at it as quite a big game with both sides being in and around each other in the league. But I mean, how are you sort of viewing things internally on that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's not really being talked about, to be honest. I think I've said this to you before. Last season I said I don't look at the league table, and that hasn't changed just because we're obviously in a different place, and I'm well aware that we obviously won't be in the position that we were in last year, but we don't really talk about where we are in the table too much. It's purely just focused on the performance and how we want to try and perform and stick with our principles and our concepts. I think it's very, very early to be talking about any sort of 6-pointers or anything like that. Torquay are a really good side. The league probably doesn't represent where they are as a team, and they're such a big club as well, so they'll be looking to kick on and get up the league as quick as they can, like what we're doing. But it doesn't change anything in terms of how we're going to approach the game. As I say, we want to stick to our game plan, and we don't want to let emotions get too much involved in it, because once emotions get involved in it and we start building it up as this sort of huge 6-pointer, then it might affect some boys and stuff. So we want to go there with no emotion, stick to the game plan, and we think that that'll be enough for us.
And of course, with it being the longest league trip of the season, I think a good 6 or 7 hours for you is down there on the coach on Friday. Obviously, I mean, does that, as coach and staff, add an extra element in sort of managing the boys, even just sort of on the journey down and on the night, I suppose, to make sure that they're kind of keeping themselves right, or do you pretty much just leave it up to them?
Nah, obviously it affects our week because we've changed things around this week slightly in terms of days that we've been training. Obviously the Oval game 2 weeks ago, we've learned a few lessons from them, and we've tried to change things up for this week. And again, it's just about the boys keeping focused, keeping really calm on the Friday, understanding the game plan, which we've spoke about yesterday, we spoke about today. We'll go through tomorrow, and then we'll refresh things on the Friday and give them as much information as we possibly can for the game Saturday. So yeah, that'll hopefully manage itself in the fact that the boys will have the information, and they'll be very calm on the Saturday and real clear in the mindset and focused on what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and in terms of availability for for the weekend. I mean, in training this week, Louis Story and Owen Gallagher have been back involved a little bit. So is there any possibility that they could be in and around the squad at the weekend?
Yeah, there's a possibility for both. I think obviously Gally's going to be back amongst it. It's maybe just a week too soon for Lou, but obviously it's a massive lift having him back in training. He's worked so hard to get where he is now. His work rate in the gym and everything like that's been unbelievable, which has speeded his process up. And also Belly, our physio, has done an unbelievable job with everyone. Obviously we've had a lot of injuries this year. His workload's been massive, and we're very lucky to have him at the club. And people like Louis and Chris emphasise what we look for in that hard work, come in every single day, and ultimately they've speeded the process up of Lou getting back, and it's such a big boost for us to have him back in training. And then we're just looking forward to getting him back on the pitch. But we're going to have numbers coming back now, and there's going to be competition for places, and naturally we hope that that'll improve performance levels from the individuals as well.
Elsewhere within the squad, I think Mike mentioned last week that Greg was possibly going to be a bit touch and go for Torquay after obviously missing the last couple of games. So I mean, how's he looking for the weekend?
It's probably took a little bit longer than Greg wanted it to take, to be honest. So we're hoping that he'll be in contention for next weekend. It's obviously just frustrating for him because it's not like him to pick up any injuries, and when he does get one, he normally shakes it off within a week or so. So the fact it's taken a little bit longer, he's just had to be a bit more patient. But he's obviously still coming in, working hard. He's been a leader around the place, and he's really important for the group as well. So, as I see, we've got some really big players to come back into the fold, and it's just about being patient with them and not throwing them back in and then losing them for longer term.
Yeah, and of course on Saturday, Adam Campbell picks up his 5th yellow card of the season, so a suspension for him at the weekend, but he is looking at that obviously as a chance for lads who are coming back in and around the squad to get an opportunity and hopefully take it at the weekend.
Yeah, of course. Obviously it's a blow to us not having Adam in the squad. He's probably due a rest, to be honest. We haven't been able to rotate or rest him at all. He's been so important for us. So we're going to take advantage of sort of freshening him up and giving him that little bit of rest that he's maybe needed. Not that he wants it. He's the last person who wants a rest, but sometimes boys need a little rest, and obviously he's picked up the 5 yellow cards. So naturally he's going to have that, which is a blow for us as a team, as I say. But we'll look at the positives on it. And we've got boys now who are chomping at the bit, and boys have got a point to prove. And if they come in and they do well, then realistically, and I've said this to the boys as well, we want lads finding it really hard to get back in the team. Louis, Tinks, Greg, ESC, because if they're finding it really hard to get back in the team, it means we're winning and we're performing well. Obviously, if we're just desperate to get them back in and desperate to put them in, it maybe means that we're not right and we're looking for more answers. So it's hopefully we can put good performance in, get good results, and these boys really have to work to get the place. And when you get the place, you've got to perform to keep the shirt as well.